So I go to Michael from the Richmond Times Dispatch.
Hello, Senator. How are you?
Hey, good, Michael.
I know you were no longer mayor at this time, but you were lieutenant governor in 2003 when Hurricane Isabel did a number
Yeah.
water supply system in
Yep.
Richmond and the water supply Richmond in Fairfax County, actually.
Yep.
Uh, Norfolk and Virginia Beach did fine because they had at least some backup generators. I read a series of stories I was, going back and rereading. Are was what happened in the aftermath of that to try to deal with power supply issues at the water treatment plant? I'm wondering, I know you're not in a direct position to answer it, but I thought you might have some observations about it.
Michael, I remember Hurricane Isabel very well. I was in the lieutenant governor's office, and my wife was down in the juvenile court building, the Oliver Hill building, and our kids were at home with a babysitter who used to come in after school for a couple hours till we could get home. And I just remember that day watching the water start to just run down Main Street. My wife, as you know, the Oliver Hill Courts building is in about the lowest lying part of the city. And we were on the phone with each other, neither of us able really to get out of our offices, our babysitter not able to get out with the kids, and exactly how we reconnect with each other. It flooded our basement. I mean, everybody in Richmond had a lot of problems then. So it's a very memorable time in my life. And obviously some of what was going on then was just this, the capacity of the storm sewer situation in Richmond, which is a little bit different than what we're dealing with now. But backup power is important. And the fact that there was a backup power arrangement with the Richmond Water Department of Public Utilities, but that the backup failed, obviously that is a significant question. I haven't yet read information about, how often was the backup system being tested, et cetera. There was a backup system. When the primary system failed, then the backup system failed too, and that's what created the challenge. I do know that the Mayor Avula is working really hard to get the generation capacity back up, the volume back up, the water pressure back up. That will happen. But then the long-term question will be, okay, how do you know then that you've got a backup system that you can count on rather than one that's not going to be operative? And I don't yet have the answer to those questions.
As I recall, in what happened before, they had a backup feed that also got knocked out in 2003, but there was not a lot back. They were reluctant to buy backup generators because of the cost. And Chesterfield didn't necessarily want to share in the cost. And I don't really know what happened with it. You may not either.
Yeah, it just not sitting here today. I may have once known, but 20 years ago. So I'm not exactly sure. But I do know, I think the mayor is trying really hard to communicate clearly to people what the problems are and when it's likely to be fixed. But I know this about Richmonders: they're not going to be happy with an answer that's a short-term answer. They're going to want to know, okay, when we're back up and running, that's great, but what is the long-term answer to make sure that the backup power system is something that we can count on in the event of an emergency like the one we had over the weekend?